Okay, that was perfect. The instructor of the year in his acceptance speech gave a mini class. And it just doesn't get any better than that, I'll tell you. It's outstanding. Well, brothers and sisters, our next speaker is another giant in the American Fire Service. His active career has spanned more than 30 years. During that time, he's been involved in more critical projects and more cutting-edge advancements than practically anyone else of his generation. Chief Dennis Compton has been a fixture at FDIC for more than 20 years, and his lectures always draw sellout crowds. He is a gentleman, he is a leader, and a firefighter's firefighter. Chief Compton has served as the chairman of the executive board of ISTA, chairman of the Congressional Fire Service Institute, National Advisory Committee, and the chairman of the National Fallen Firefighters Board of Directors. He's the chairman of the Home Safety Council Board of Directors, and he has written many, many books and articles, too many to list. I thought myself extremely fortunate to be able to learn and study from Chief Compton. So please help me in welcoming my very good friend, Chief Dennis Compton.
Morning, everybody. I'm here to visit with you for just a little bit this morning about fire service-based EMS and some efforts that are going on in the country regarding that issue. Sometimes paranoia isn't all bad because just as Harold was talking about earlier with Tri-Data and with the National League of Cities, sometimes they are out to get you. And it's that case, I think, when we look at some of the things that are happening in this country regarding emergency medical services. And EMS is such a critical part of what we do in the fire service. It isn't a new service. I mean, there are fire departments that have been providing EMS services since long before I was born in the 40s. Long before. I've seen many, many photographs of it, and it's been very common. Matter of fact, more than 90% of the fire departments in the United States provide EMS at some level right now. A few of the things that have been occurring that ought to be of a little concern to you, because they are to a lot of other people, is there's been some work underway to form a United States EMS administration, similar to the Fire Administration. There is no new money in Washington, D.C. for programs. It isn't there. And we don't, again, have to be paranoid to figure out where the funds might come from in order to separate EMS out into its own agency. And if it were somebody other than a fire person running that agency, I think you can see the conflicts we might end up having within our systems. An effort's underway, in fact, it's already started, to form an EMS caucus in Congress. The Fire Caucus is more than 300 members. It's the largest caucus in Congress. An EMS caucus will do nothing for our congressional leaders and their staffs but confuse the issues around funding decisions and whatnot that deal with EMS and fire-related issues as well, fire response-related issues. Also, access to our federal grant programs. Many people sitting in this room, as I look out there, I see so many people who have worked their ever-loving rear ends off to not only establish those programs, but to maintain them. We don't have those grant programs because we're warm and wonderful people. We have those grant programs because people like Harold Shakeberger, like Bobby Halton, and like so many others, John Buckman and so many others, worked for years and years and years to get them. And to have access to those opened up to private sector companies, hospital-based systems, and other entities, it wouldn't be long until our grant programs were expended for purposes other than fire departments. And finally, you don't have to be a genius to figure out that there were meetings going on, policy-level meetings in this country regarding the future of emergency medical services, pre-hospital 911 emergency care. And frankly, the fire service wasn't even invited to the meetings to develop policy for the future of EMS in this country. So once again, this was happening. So in 2006, major fire organizations, 5 of them, and myself and Steve Austin from the Volunteer Fire Service got together in Washington, D.C., and we asked a simple question. Do we want to continue doing this individually as organizations and dealing with these issues, or do we want to come together and form a coalition to work on these issues collectively? So we did just that. The steering committee members of this coalition is made up of the IFC, the International Association of Fire Chiefs, the Congressional Fire Services Institute, the International Association of Firefighters, the National Volunteer Fire Council, and the NFPA. And the facilitators of that group are myself and, as I said, Steve Austin. We developed early on in the process a statement of principle. In other words, if you're going to belong to the fire service-based EMS advocates, what is it you believe in? In other words, what is it you're committed to? And I want you to take just a second and read this with me, because for people to belong to our coalition, all they need to do is believe this: that fire service-based EMS systems are strategically positioned to deliver pre-hospital emergency medical services that incorporate time-critical response and effective patient care. Fire service-based EMS emphasizes responder safety, competent and compassionate workers, and cost-effective operations. We are not advocating against any other type of EMS system or service. We don't spend any time talking about it. We don't spend any time advocating against it. What we do is we advocate for that, right there. We advocate for that. Some of the things that we've accomplished since we've been together: first of all, there's an excellent white paper available to you to help you in your communities and to help you in your organizations. Not only represent the importance of EMS in your systems, but to help you develop the effectiveness of EMS in your systems as well. This white paper was written by 4 doctors, you can see their names right there, that are actively involved in the emergency medical services arena and are strong advocates of EMS. You can get a copy of that white paper simply by going to our website, which is www.fireserviceems, as if it were one word, .com. We've also developed a DVD. This DVD is available to you through many of your member organizations, the IFC, the IFF, the National Volunteer Fire Council, and is also online. So you can actually access it online as well. That again talks about the EMS systems, the fire-based EMS systems, and the right response being that type of effort for your communities. And I think you'll see that it's just a wonderful representation of what you do in providing EMS services to your communities. If you want to join the advocates, which I hope you do, I hope your organizations do, it's as simple as this. First of all, the instructions are at the website. Simply go to the website, follow the instructions. Basically, we want you to send a letter on your organization's letterhead requesting membership and also indicating that you agree specifically with that statement of principle. And then mail the letter to the Congressional Fire Services Institute in Washington, D.C., or you can do this online as well if you just go to the website. What are we doing in the future? We're going to continue the steering committee. We've made a commitment to that, and we're going to continue our efforts. We're going to utilize that white paper and DVD everywhere we can, and I hope you do as well. Get your hands on those things and use them. We're going to do presentations such as this at conferences. We've been doing that for 2 years now, and I want to thank Bobby Halton and Fire Engineering for allowing us to be here today to talk with you about this important subject. And we've been writing articles for publications, and again, thanks to Fire Engineering Magazine and other publications for publishing our articles, including Firehouse Magazine. We really appreciate it. We're going to develop the membership of our coalition. In fact, for this year, that is our number one goal, is we're going to increase the membership in our coalition. And we've got a rather substantial goal in mind, where in fact we're going to increase it by about tenfold. We're going to continue to enhance our website so that you can use that to help you. We're going to work at the congressional level and at the national level with agencies, trying to help them understand the fire services role in EMS. I'll tell you one thing that happened to us is if you go back to the 70s and early 80s when most of our EMS systems were established, we visited with a lot of elected officials about those fire-based EMS systems. Well, a lot of those elected officials are gone. They are gone. And we've got some retraining to do. both at the national level, and you've got some retraining to do at the local level as well. Okay. I want you to close your eyes sometime, maybe this afternoon or this evening, and I want you to imagine a fire service without EMS. Because it's not a pretty sight, believe me. Harold was talking earlier about staffing issues and the staffing challenges that we face currently. Multiply those challenges significantly if we get moved out of the EMS arena. And I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow, and it's not going to happen in a few years. But don't think that can't happen. If it ever becomes profitable to increase the level of first response capability other than fire-based EMS response, don't kid yourself, y'all. Someone will take advantage of it. A lot of it has to do with leadership inside our own fire departments. Just as Harold from the IFF was standing here earlier, the leaders of all of our fire organizations, membership organizations, would come and tell you that they need for our leadership to better embrace EMS as an integral, important part of our systems. Because I think, even as you can see on the screen, we haven't done that. The people that we find ourselves in opposition with, they accuse us of managing EMS as if it were a hobby. And guess what? Many of our departments have. We're guilty. In my career as a fire chief, I'll bet you I have signed 15 requisitions to replace overhead doors at fire stations. And that could be a conservative number because they got hit by fire trucks going on calls. I have never signed a requisition to replace an overhead door when the fire truck was going to an EMS call. Not one time. Okay. Now, I'm not telling you to take out more doors. That's not the point here. But you lead primarily by example. And someone said earlier, the leaders of the fire service are sitting in this room, and they are right. And when you allow crews, and even yourself, to run to the fire truck for a fire call and walk to the fire truck for an EMS call, you don't need to say anything else about the way you feel about EMS. You've said it all. The counseling session is over. It's over. So not only do we need to deal with this issue outside the fire service, we need to deal with it inside the fire service. And we at the Coalition are going to continue to provide you with tools to do that. Please use our website. Please become a member of our coalition so that we can re-emphasize the important role EMS plays in our service delivery systems. I want to thank Bobby Halton for allowing me to be here today. Thank you all for your attention. Have a great conference. Take care.